Hey guys, welcome back to Unveiling Stories. Before we start, make sure to subscribe. Let's get to 100 subscribers, so without further ado, let's get into today's Thailand story. Hey, my story is a bit different than any other Thailand story. I've been with a Thai woman for 22 years, married for 18 years. How we got together and what her background is would make for a very funny story, and I might one day write that one down too. But that's not what I want to share here. However, to understand the story, it's necessary to have some background information about my current relationship. As I mentioned, we have been happily married for 18 years and live in Switzerland. My wife works, and if she wants to send money back home, she can do so with her own earnings and is not dependent on me. Over the years, our relationship has become more open. Now we both give each other a lot of freedom. At 45 years old, she still enjoys going out with her friends and hitting nightclubs and discos. I, however, prefer to stay at home and have a quiet evening. She enjoys flirting, and if she wants to have fun with our young stud, that's absolutely fine with me. Happy wife, happy life. Our agreement is that we don't tell each other about our affairs unless it starts to have an impact on our feelings for each other and our relationship, which has never been the case. On the contrary, I am convinced that this has deepened and strengthened our bond. In January 2018, we were on vacation together in Thailand, and for the last week we stayed in Bangkok. My wife wanted to visit old friends, and I had some free time in this sinful city. So I thought, why not make the most of it and treat myself to another soapy massage from one of those young petite Thai girls who have captivated me. I had known about the legendary Nuru soapy massage for many years, and it was only a 10-minute walk from my hotel. So I showered, shaved, dressed well, and off I went. A short while later, I arrived, full of anticipation and a bit nervous. I climbed the stairs, wondering if the girl I had seen on the website would be there, or if the photos were like so many others, edited or fake. There weren't many girls there, but the girl from the website was even more beautiful than I had hoped. Gorgeous long hair, petite, young, exactly my type. Perfection. Adrenaline rushed through my veins. The mama-san wanted to recommend other girls, but I didn't let myself be swayed and booked 2 hours with this princess. What happened then? I can and won't describe in detail here. It was a very good classic soapy massage with one of the most beautiful girls I've ever had the pleasure of getting to know. Getting to know each other during a soapy massage? Of course not, but wait to hear how this story continues. After the business part, we started talking. Started with the usual small talk. We lost track of time. At least I did, and chatted away. She had just turned 18 and had started this work 3 months earlier, precisely on her 18th birthday. Suddenly, the mama-san knocked on the door and made it clear that I had to leave. I left feeling deeply relaxed and happy. The next day I called the salty massage place and made a reservation for my princess. When I arrived and she realized who the unknown person was who had reserved her, she jumped into my arms and was delighted. I'm not a noob and I'm not naive in these matters. I know that these girls are very good at making you feel like there's more than just a customer relationship. But I was happy because she seemed to be very motivated to give me good feelings. The subsequent service started off normal and routine, but in the second part, everything changed. There was clearly more passion involved than the previous day. I thought, wow, what great service. After an explosive ending, she suddenly started crying. I was confused and asked her what was wrong, but she assured me that everything was fine. In fact, it was very good and beautiful for her. We talked for a long time, and every time I tried to leave, she clung to me and I stayed. When the mama-san knocked on the door, she went to the door, had a discussion with the mama-san, and then came back to the room saying that I could stay for another 2 hours if I wanted to, and that I didn't have to pay anything extra. I still don't know how she convinced the mama-san. The 2 hours flew by as we cuddled and talked. I also explained to her that I would be flying back to Switzerland the next day. We exchanged line IDs and I told her that I would contact her when I was in Bangkok again. As a parting gift, I gave her a 100 Swiss franc banknote as a tip, and told her to exchange it for baht at the bank. She had no idea how much it was worth and didn't ask. I was overwhelmed by the experience, knowing how well these girls are at making you feel special. She told me that she had never felt such emotions before and had previously thought that I finished only applied to men. Anyway, one quickly becomes the one special person for these girls. Ha 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 ha, but it was truly one of my best paid experiences. The next day I flew back to Switzerland. In the first few days after my return, I exchanged a few line messages with her, but then it became quiet. But as luck would have it, in the fall of the same year, I was offered the opportunity to attend a convention in Bangkok, And to my surprise, my wife had no objections. It was a 2-day convention, but I booked 7 days in Bangkok. 1 week before the trip, I contacted Pim, that's the name of the little princess, and agreed to visit her at her new massage shop in Soi 7 because the legendary Annie's was no longer there. For the first 2 days in Bangkok, I visited her at her shop as usual. For the last 5 days, after I had no more obligations at the convention, I booked her for the full 5 days. The takeout fee was 5,000 baht, 2,500 for her and 2,500 for the shop. I thought she would demand more, but when I asked her about it, she said, "No, that's already very expensive. You don't have to pay more." Anyway, we had 5 truly wonderful days. Good food, cinema, a little shopping. But she never dragged me to expensive brand stores or jewelers. It was truly a great time. Yes, I broke the 3-day rule, fully aware that I was playing with fire. It felt like being with a girlfriend. I was convinced that there was at least genuine sympathy from her unless she was the best actress in the world. But I didn't care because the result was good for me either way. I had already paid the share for her shop on the first day, and we had agreed that I would pay Pim throughout the week. She never insisted or asked for it. On the 4th day, I paid her. However, what happened on the 5th day, the day of my departure, was very surprising. When we went back to the room after breakfast, she came to me with all the money and handed it back to me. As I looked at her in confusion, she said, "I don't want money from you. You paid a lot for the shop." Is this a form of playing the long game? I don't understand the mechanism. She would only be risking that I would actually take the money back if, perhaps contrary to expectations, our paths didn't cross again. Do you have any idea what could motivate a girl to take this step? When I tried to find out why she was doing this, she said, "I don't want you as a customer. I want you as a friend." Of course, I didn't accept that and insisted that she take the money, especially since I had actually planned to give her an additional 20,000 baht as a gift before my departure. But she did not know this. She insisted on taking me to the airport, and I managed to secretly smuggle the additional money into her bag. The farewell at the airport was rather cold, and it didn't quite match the atmosphere of the previous 5 days. After going through the security checks, I sent her a line message saying, "Check your bag. I put a present inside." I was actually sad and had to admit to myself that I had developed certain feelings for Pim. However, I knew that I would probably never see her again. It was also clear to me that there was no future with her. I was married to the best and most tolerant wife, and I never questioned that relationship for a second. The likelihood of experiencing another week with Pim in the future seemed close to zero, as I usually spent my Thailand vacations with my wife. Pim and I exchanged regular messages for about 2 months and occasionally shared photos. She never asked for money. No sick buffalo, no sick children, no broken motorbikes. Then it became quieter and stopped. I hadn't heard from Pim for 4 months and actually didn't think about her anymore when Pim's birthday suddenly appeared in the Line app. So I sent her a happy birthday message. She replied and told me that she was in Germany. When I asked her what she was doing in Germany, she said, "Work." It turned out that she was working in a brothel in a small town south of Berlin, a 7-hour drive from Switzerland. I was worried that she had become a victim of human trafficking and was forced into this work, but she assured me that she was doing it voluntarily and that she was treated well. She said she was safe. When I told her that I was only 7 hours away, she made a remark and said, "Come to me." I replied, "I'm not driving 7 hours just to visit you in a brothel." And she said, "I can have a holiday for 1 week." So we planned a week-long vacation together in Berlin. I organized an Airbnb and drove to Germany. I checked into my accommodation in Berlin in the evening, went shopping to make sure we had everything we needed, including drinks, snacks, and flowers. The next morning, I went to her brothel to pick her up. I was invited inside and greeted by a whole group of Thai girls and the mama-san. At some point, the mama-san told me about the difficulties the girls face in sending money back to Thailand and asked if I had the possibility to send money to Thailand. However, since I suspected where this was heading, I redirected the conversation in a different direction. I mentioned this because it becomes important later in the story. Finally, I was able to take Pim away and bring her to my prepared nest in Berlin. We had a fantastic week. Shopping, sightseeing, a visit to the zoo, going out for good food, and we had a lot of fun during our workouts. From the beginning, Pim made it clear to me that she didn't want money. It was simply a vacation. Everything was even more intense than in Bangkok, and my feelings reignited. I talked a lot with her and learned a lot about how Thai brothels work in Germany. The girls all end up with tourist visas and stay. They are all illegal in Germany. The travel and everything are paid for, and they have to work it off once they are in Germany before they can start earning their own money. However, if they recruit another girl, they receive a commission. Now Pim was by far the prettiest, most beautiful, and youngest lady in her brothel, and had paid off all her debt within a month. Let me tell you, as a well-paid IT engineer, it would have taken me 4 times as long. However, sending money to Thailand was a problem because the girls don't have a bank account in Germany, so they rely on people who can do it for them. Oh, surprise, it's all well organized, and about 20% of the money goes to these people. So I offered to help Pim with that. At the end of the vacation, I insisted on giving her some money. After all, she had come to Germany to make as much money as possible, as quickly as possible, and I thought it was only fair. She could have earned multiples of what I gave her during the week. When I tried to give her the money, she showed me her bag, which was full of cash. She had taken everything with her because she didn't want to leave it unattended in the brothel. She was, of course, constantly afraid it would be stolen. So I offered to deposit the money I wanted to give her directly into her bank account. I did that with Wise, and she saw how fast and uncomplicated it was. Long story short, on my way back home, I had all her cash in the car. It was anything but little. I was going to bring it to the bank in Switzerland, and then send it to Thailand. It would have been enough money to finance my next free trips to Thailand. It was amazing that Pim trusted me so much, and I of course didn't disappoint her trust. Even before my return journey, we had already planned our next vacation for August, which was 2 months later. Every Thai girl's dream, a vacation in Switzerland. In the meantime, she had relocated her work to Bremen, a city in northern Germany, and was working in various brothels there. So I picked her up by car in Bremen and secretly crossed the border into Switzerland. After a 10-hour drive, we spent another wonderful week together. We visited many of the beautiful places for which Switzerland is famous, and we went to the bank to deposit a huge amount of cash. We had to do it on 2 different days because depositing such a large sum at once would have been suspicious. I could write a whole story about our vacation in Switzerland, but that would just be a side note here. After that vacation, I flew to Bremen every 6 weeks to spend a lovely weekend with the princess. The deal was simple. I had 2 great nights, and she had the money in her Thai bank. However, she was always worried that her money could be stolen. So I opened a bank account at a German bank and gave her the ATM card. With that card, she could deposit money into the account at the ATM without needing to know the PIN. I could then withdraw the money via online banking, transfer it to my Wise, and from there, send it to Pim's Thai bank account. This way, she could comfortably take the money to the bank whenever she wanted. At some point, I even offered this service to her best friend Gong, another Thai beauty. So now, I was sending money to Thailand for 2 ladies, Pim and Gong. Although I no longer had to collect cash, I continued flying to Bremen every 6 to 8 weeks. Pim and I were already planning our summer vacation for the year 2020. In late autumn 2019, I noticed that something had changed, but I thought it was just a mood swing or the result of hard work. Around New Year's, when I wanted to book Airbnb accommodations for our summer trip through southern France, she suddenly and unexpectedly messaged me that she couldn't have aerobics with me anymore, but she still wanted to go on vacation with me in the summer. She said I was her best friend, but she only wanted friendship. That hit me like a blow, and suddenly I realized how many emotions were involved for me. She didn't want to tell me why, but she said that there was no future for us because I was married. I had to admit to myself that I had fallen deeply in love with this girl. Even though I had always told myself that I had it all under control, and that it was just an affair or a purchase service, I struggled, but I still offered her my friendship and help with money. However, I explained to her that I couldn't imagine going on vacation with such a beautiful woman whom I loved so much only as friends. That would be unbearable for me. That's why I didn't book any Airbnb accommodations for the summer of 2020. Fortunately, due to well-known reasons, vacations that summer would have been cancelled anyway, regardless of the story between me and Pim. The pandemic hit, and Pim couldn't work anymore. She used to sleep in the brothels, which were now closed. I was worried about her. She then told me that she had found friends in Bremen who would take care of her and that she had a place to sleep. Eventually, she confessed to me that she now had a boyfriend and was really in love. I won't go into the emotional roller coaster that caused in me. I knew that there was no future for me and Pim. I just hoped that her new boyfriend was truly good for her and that she would be happy. Despite having a boyfriend, Pim wanted to continue working and earning money, but that was not possible due to the pandemic. So she decided to return to Thailand in the summer. That was not an easy decision because she was illegal in Germany, and traveling was also not possible due to the pandemic. I now had almost daily contact with Pim. She messaged me, and we had video calls. She told me everything, even if she had an argument with her boyfriend, etc. I was there for her whenever she needed someone, and I helped her with administrative matters if necessary. In late summer 2020, there was an opportunity to travel back home with flights organized by the Thai embassy. Pim had given her bank card to her friend Gong, and I continued to offer my money transfer service, although it was limited since Gong also had difficulties working during that time. Pim and I stayed in touch, and she wanted to return to Germany as soon as possible. This time, however, it wasn't for work but to marry her boyfriend. However, due to the pandemic, traveling seemed impossible. In the fall, when travel to Europe became possible again, Pim's boyfriend Mark tried to apply for a marriage visa for her. For a marriage visa, a Thai woman must provide a German language certificate, so Pim attended a German course in Bangkok and obtained the certificate. The German embassy sent her an appointment for visa issuance, and everything seemed to be going well. The wedding at the registry office in Germany was already planned, and a flight was booked. However, one day before the appointment at the embassy, Pim received a call stating that she would not be granted the visa due to an overstay in Germany. Now, she didn't have an official Schengen ban, but Germany had concerns about her entry. Despite this setback, I applied for a Schengen visa for Switzerland on behalf of Pim, as she still wanted to meet her boyfriend. An invitation letter was sufficient, and I didn't have to provide a financial guarantee since Pim could demonstrate sufficient financial means for a tourist visa. On the appointed day, I picked her up in Zurich and drove her to Bremen. The Swiss Schengen visa is also valid for stays in Germany. In Bremen, I then handed her over to Mark. I had mixed feelings. On one hand, I was happy that she was happy, but on the other hand, I felt sad. Fortunately, Gong was there, so Gong spent that night with me, providing comfort. It was a thank you for helping her with money transfers, but I had to promise not to tell Pim about that night. The next day, the four of us, Pim, Gong, Mark and I, went out to eat together. After that, I made my way back to Switzerland. Since it wasn't possible to get married with a tourist visa, Pim had to return to Thailand after 3 months. I applied for a Swiss visa for her a second time. One day my wife asked if she could go on vacation alone to Thailand to visit her family. It's only natural for me to allow her to do so, but I took the opportunity to ask if I could also go on a solo vacation. When she asked where I wanted to go, I said Thailand as well. She laughed heartily and said, "Of course you can, and you can do whatever you want, even with women." I looked at her in surprise, and she laughed again, saying, "Yes, maybe you're interested." So it happened that I actually went on a solo vacation to Thailand. Naturally, I contacted Pim, who was back in Thailand at the time, and wanted to go to Bangkok during that period anyway. So we met up. We spent 3 days together, but only platonically. All my persuasion skills were in vain. I tried unsuccessfully to convince her to be a bad girl again. I tried in vain to convince her to see me as a client once more and be my vacation girlfriend for a week in exchange for payment. However, she introduced me to a friend who was willing to take on that role, and it was indeed a good time. Now I am allowed to regularly go on solo vacations to Thailand. My wife is the best. During my last vacation in Thailand, it wasn't planned for me to meet up with Pim. I was in Pattaya and had fun with various girls. As fate would have it, I fell ill, not with COVID, but with a digestive issue and fever. When Pim found out about it, she insisted on coming to take care of me and travelled from Isan to Pattaya just to be by my side. It wasn't a serious condition that I really needed her for, but she insisted. In the end, I even had to convince her to let me repay her for the travel expenses. Now I'm back home, but I'm already planning my next vacation in Thailand. This time, though, it will be with my wife. We are planning a road trip through Thailand. Pim and I still regularly message each other, send photos, and occasionally have video chats. I always know what's happening in her life, and she also knows about all my Thai girl escapades. Sometimes our advice is quite useful. I believe I have found a true friend in Pim. Now Pim and Mark's plan is to get married in Thailand once they are married. Germany cannot deny her the visa anymore since it's not an official Schengen ban, and they won't have to wait until Germany lifts the ban. I still keep in regular contact with Pim. When she's in Thailand during my next trip, I will meet her, and I will also be invited to the wedding celebration where they are in Germany.